What's up, everybody? It's HBT with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. Guys, I just got off the phone with Mr. Christopher Burton, but hey, I am here live, man. I know I'm a little late, but hey, it is what it is. This is a late night, man, doing a little late night podcasting. Let me see how everything goes. I'm going to turn on this front light, see how that thing looks here on the podcast, man. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this podcast tonight. Talk a little bit about, hey, one of my favorite wrestlers, and he's got to be, when it boils down to it, if I think about it, he's one of my top 5 to 10 of all time. And I'm not talking about The Rock, even though I have The Rock up here, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And I says, The Rock is a different man than his father, than his daddy was Rocky Soulman Johnson. But Rocky Soulman Johnson, as far as a performer, Rocky Soulman Johnson, guys, was one of my favorite wrestlers of all times, guys. I mean, he was just incredible. And my favorite time seeing him was when he came to the Carolinas and he wrestled in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, which later became WCW. He wrestled there as Sweet Ebony Diamond, guys. So, man, all credit. I got to give this guy all kind of credit in the world, man, because he's the first wrestler that I really seen, I could say, that was really super athletic. I mean, there were some athletic guys I had saw right before him, but this guy was very athletic and is probably, as far as black wrestlers, man, was probably the most athletic wrestler I had seen up to that point. But this guy was incredible, man. So I really love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Rocky Soulman Johnson. Then, Dwayne, his son, who came later on. But Rocky Soulman Johnson, guys, love this guy. Sorry about this, guys. All right, guys, so give me just a moment. I'm going to get a little bit more light here. See how that's showing up here on the podcast, but I want to get a little bit more light. What's going on, Charity? Charity says, NXT WWE Carl's Jr. Hardy's. Hi there, send link or else you will get a no. Now, I'm not going to be on long tonight, Charity, so no, man, no, I'm not going to do that, but so tonight I'm going to go ahead and say no, because I'm trying not to end up staying on the link, staying on the stream too long. But guys, like I said, man, look, all I want to do is talk about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and I'm going to talk about Rocky Soulman Johnson. But man, Rocky Soulman Johnson, what really brought me to this is I've been watching, I've just started. I did not watch the series. Magnum's in the house. What's up, Magnum? All right. Yeah, it is kind of late, Charity. So that's the reason I'm not going to do it. That's the reason I'm not going to bring you on, Charity, because it's late. But Magnum's in the house. Greetings, brother Harry. Yeah, my man Christopher Burton tonight. Christopher Burton just now got home from Florence, South Carolina, man. He went down, him and his wife went down to the South Carolina State, Delaware State, South Carolina State, Delaware State football game in a low country of South Carolina. So they went and checked out that football game. It was the homecoming, and man, South Carolina State won the game 69 to 35. Wow, it's an incredible score. But yeah, they ended up winning the game. Chris went to that game, and pretty much they enjoyed it big time. And after that, they left the game, and as they was coming back, Chris and her stopped off in Florence, South Carolina, about an hour and 9 minutes away from Orangeburg State, not Orangeburg State, but Orangeburg, South Carolina State's football stadium. They stopped there before they headed home to Lawrence, South Carolina. So he's at home now, man, right at the top of Greenville County, but he's at home right now, and he just now came in, but he called me right before I started this thing, but I went ahead and started it as we was talking on the phone. But I told him exactly what I'm about to do. But yeah, he's about to take a shower, man, take his self to bed. But I told him I'm gonna get on and talk about this subject right here, man. But yeah, I just now got finished with I'm not finished with the series, guys. I think I'm just now getting into the second season of Rocky's The Rock show. And my main focus, a lot of my focus has been on his dad, man. It's the way his dad, a lot of his dad's shenanigans, it really really shocked me, to tell you the truth, guys. And I mean, and I will tell you, I mean, he was my favorite wrestler there for a while. I mean, even surpassing the great Nature Boy Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat as my favorite wrestlers. This guy was my favorite wrestler. You know, I'll say, you know, around 80. When was he in Greenville? He was in. He came to Greenville, I think, in 80 or 81. He came, you know, into the Carolinas, Virginia, you know, area, whatever, you know, the Mid-Atlantic. He came here and he wrestled under a mask at Sweet Ebony Diamond. And man, he was incredible specimen. You know, he kind of, you know, remind me of Tony Atlas on a, you know, on a smaller deal. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't a bodybuilder as Tony Atlas, but you could tell that this man put a lot of time and effort into his body. Great body. And, you know, I really admired him, man, and just could not believe the things that he can do in the ring. A lot of the things that he did in the ring today, you know, back in the day, I see some of these guys doing today, but they take it to a different level. But he was one of these guys, man, that will make moves that a gymnast would make, you know, as far as in the ring. And I mean, he was better in Mid-Atlantic than he was over in the WWE. WWE was kick and punch and, you know, not a whole bunch of different things. That was the style that Vince had his guys doing. But man, in the territories, when he did get and wrestle in the territories, then you saw every single thing that this guy could do, man. You saw all his abilities. And I'll tell you what, he let it all hang out when he was in the Mid-Atlantic Championship area, area. But yeah, he was just incredible. And yeah, and like I said, man, my favorite three wrestlers at that time, 81, 82, it was, you know, Ric Flair. I know Ricky Steamboat first, Ric Flair, and Tony Atlas. Those were my favorite three wrestlers, I have to say, as far as singles wrestlers. Those were my favorite three, and he pretty much surpassed those guys in my eyes for the brief time that he was here in the Carolinas. You know, he won the World Television Championship, and that's the title that Arn Anderson held for such a long time. Tully Blanchard held for a long time. Magnum TA held for a long time. Dusty Rhodes held it for a long time. You know, that's the same belt, you know, that became that NWA, that WCW World Heavyweight Championship belt, that Mid-Atlantic television title. That's the same title. And it was very prestigious. And he won that title, but he was the man. He was just incredible. You know, great drop kick. You know, guys would try to clothesline him coming off the rope, man. He would, you know, do those rolls on the floor, you know, and just hit everything spot on. He was very precise. To me, he was like the Floyd Mayweather of wrestling, straight up, before Floyd Mayweather, of course. But he was, you know, he was smooth, man. He was, I guess you could say, like the Sugar Ray Leonard of professional wrestling. And he was, when he was in the Carolinas, you know, nobody beat him. He just, whoa, man. Whoa, he was just a sight to see. He was just fantastic. And, you know, had some great feuds here, that legendary feuds that you can definitely remember and, you know, sink your teeth into, that he was in, you know, one with the superstar, mass superstar, Bill Eadie, you know, the legendary mass superstar who ended up, you know, being the mass superstar for years and ended up being in Demolition. But he was in a feud with him, man, that was just incredible. Something that you definitely would like to see. He got into a feud with Stan the Man Hansen. But he came out on top in these feuds. He was so good. It just, you know, it was mind blowing. And I think everybody in the arena, you know, a lot of blacks used to, you know, a lot of black people in my town used to come out to see him wrestle. A lot of whites too, but nobody looked at him, you know, basically as just a black wrestler. But we was flabbergasted because, I mean, of course, we've already had seen people in the black wrestlers in the Carolinas, because, you know, that's one thing I will give Jim Crockett, you know, Jim Crockett and his son, Jim Crockett Jr., when he took over, you know, they always had a very good group of black wrestlers come through. You know, I was used to, you know, Tony Atlas. You know, Tony Atlas. Before Tony Atlas, you had Tiger Conway Jr. You had Tiger Conway. You had Bearcat Wright. You had Sonny King. You had so many, Rufus R. Freight Train Jones. You had SD Jones. So many different black wrestlers who had came through during my lifetime. And I had been watching wrestling at that time, I would say, basically going on 10 years. I was like, you know, 13, 14 14, I say around 14 and 81. So I've been watching 9 to 10 years, I would say, from like 71 on, because like I say, but in 71 to 75, I really, those 4 years there, even though I watched it, just I had my ear tuned to it. I would look over at the TV every now and then because my brother watched it all the time. I knew all the wrestlers, George and Sandy Scott, Johnny Weaver, Johnny Valentine, those guys who was performing for the company. But I didn't really get into wrestling until Chief Wahoo McDaniel was wrestling Boris Malenko on TV one day, and he knocked his teeth out. And I was in tune ever since then. So I was 8 years old. That was in 1975. And so I started watching all the time. That's when I became that wrestling super fan. But somebody that really, and as a wrestling super fan, the people, there were certain guys that made me a wrestling super fan. And Chief Wahoo McDaniel made me a super wrestling fan, but I became a Chief Wahoo McDaniel hater very quick. When I was 8 years old, I stopped liking him. Or was I 7 at that time? I think it was 74, 75. But, I stopped liking him very quick because Ric Flair, Nature Boy Ric Flair, was 75 because he came off that plane crash, and I got to see him at Greenville Memorial Auditorium wrestle Ric Flair. And Ric Flair, that's when Ric Flair became the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He very flamboyant, smaller than what he was before the plane crash. They had that little pimp, Fargo strut, but he added his own flair to it. I mean, he was just something special. Very special. People hated him. The most hated wrestler, I think, voted the most hated wrestler of the year that year. I think, 75, 77, and 78, I think, voted the most hated wrestler of the year. And, people talk about how heelish, how great of a heel that Roddy Piper was. And they talk about, other people who was such a great heel. But if you did not see Ric Flair during that time when he was feuding with, Tiger Conway Jr., feuding with Ricky Steamboat and people like that, you never seen a heel before. This guy, they didn't call him, he didn't get that reputation as the dirtiest player in the game for nothing. Ric Flair is Ric Flair is the epitome of a heel, man. He was horrible, man. He was horrible. So I just let people go and say, oh, he's the greatest heel in history. And people go ahead and, go ahead and they talk about all these other people who's great heels because I know they didn't see these wrestlers in the 70s. It seemed like guys, man, for some reason, man, it seemed to me that people my age, and hey, there's people older than me that's still watching wrestling. There's people older than me, and my man Mag. Yeah, Young Rock is a very good show. Yes, it is. Yes, it really is. You said, don't know if you saw AEW Collision, but it was actually pretty good tonight. No, I did not get to see it, Mag. I didn't get to see it. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and check that out. I need to check out Friday night SmackDown too. But look, man. But yeah, as far as if you go back. If you can go back and check out Sweet Ebony Diamond. It's hard to find clips of Sweet Ebony Diamond. It's easier to find things of Rocky Johnson, but Sweet Ebony Diamond, is hard to find stuff on that. Man, and I hope somebody, I'm pretty sure some of my friends probably got old videos of him and everything like that. So I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. But Sweet Ebony Diamond is, like I said, it's hard to find his old clips, and I might go through the old WWE library and stuff like that and see what I can bring up and see if I can bring up his days as Sweet Ebony Diamond, man. But he was incredible. And and they was taking off on Sweet Brown Sugar. So they was trying to get something, because we couldn't get Sweet Brown Sugar. The Jim Crockett Promotions couldn't get him. He ended up get Rocky Johnson as Sweet Ebony Diamond. But in my opinion, Sweet Ebony Diamond was a much better wrestler than Sweet Brown Sugar. And we brought Sweet Brown Sugar in a little bit later. He just didn't make it in this area, man. He really didn't. But he was a good one too. But man, yeah. But so hey, that was around 80, 81 when he was here, and he stayed like a year. And I mean, he was just dominating people, man, just incredible. He actually wasn't a year; he was in and out because he would be here and he would be in Memphis. He would go different spots. But wow, I'm looking at this TV show. Let's get back to the TV show, which got me back into The Rock and everything. And this is the first time I really, I started watching this. First time I really thought about him. until you can go back to 99, 98, 99, 2000 is when I really thought about The Rock a good bit. Rocky Soulman Johnson a good bit because of his son, The Rock. And even though The Rock was going with the more of the Peter Maivia thing, they will mention every day, now and then, that he was the son of Rocky Soulman Johnson. I knew who he was as soon as he came on the scene. I knew that was Rocky Soulman Johnson's son. But it was kind of disappointing that that's not what they pointed to, that he was Rocky Soulman Johnson's son, because Rocky Soulman Johnson, just incredible, man. And in my opinion, he deserved that accolade. He deserved the accolades of his son following in his footsteps. But Peter Maivia, Peter Maivia was a great, outstanding competitor too. But hey, man, I just felt Rock, young Rock, he needed to be pushing his dad out there. But I understand what Vince was doing. I definitely understand what he was doing. Back then people were looking at him as a Samoan. They wasn't looking at him as a black wrestler. They just was not. And he was marketing it that way. And I know why he was marketing it that way, man. You're going to make more money. It's a business decision, straight up, of course, so I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I wanted them to make as much money off the guys as they could. And he got popular as on the what and got over. And if you want to look at him as a total black wrestler, is when he linked up with Ron Simmons and that group. This guy, man, he pretty much was telling you who he was. But man, still, they still was marketing him as a Samoan wrestler, that's out there just telling, these guys, hey, know your role and stuff like that, man. But hey, incredible things that he did. But I was like, man, he will never be as good as his father. As popular as he get, he will never be as good as his father, straight up, in my opinion. Because his dad was just one of these wrestlers, man, that was just one of a kind, once in a lifetime generation star. You look at something like boxing, which I love boxing. And you look at boxing, you look at the stars, man, at that time. You look at the Roberto Durans, you look at the Sugar Ray Leonards, you look at the Tommy Hitman Hearns, the Marvelous Marvin Haglers, the people that ruled the roost. And I'm talking about, Muhammad Ali still was a big name at the time, but hey, he was pretty much on the downside of his career. Larry Holmes had won the belt and things. So you had those type of dudes out there. But I'm talking about the guys, the smaller weight divisions. The Aaron Pryors, the Argentina, what is his name? Arguello. Those guys, man, they basically took over. Took the thing over. And one thing, and speaking of boxing, you had Rocky Soulman Johnson. He had an amateur background. He said he used to spar with Muhammad Ali. I don't know if that's true or not. That's one thing that I did look at. I used to watch a good bit when he was in the boxing ring, and I'm like, wow, man. He's decent. He had great footwork. Threw some nice punches and things. Side punches, and he had a good boxing game. But I was like, wow, it's better for him to be a wrestler, straight up, hey, and I know a little bit about boxing, so I will say that. But, man, I think he might have been a sparring partner, but he chose wrestling, and that's good. All right, man, let me go ahead and get Wally G. Wally G says, Wally G, I don't know about all that. I did see that they won it. How you feel about the Motor City Machine Guns winning the WWE Tag Team titles? I can understand why they put it on them. Let's just put it that way. I understand why they put it on them, but I wish they didn't do that. I really do. I really wish they would have went another route. And I understand what they was doing. They basically trying to get back to the storyline of the bloodline, and they going about it all the wrong way. It's sad what they're doing, because look, man, I hate to say it, Wally G, but this is all a money thing. As far, I ain't gonna say money thing as far as the arenas, because they selling out everywhere they go. It's a ratings thing. Ratings is gonna affect the money that comes toppling in, and with WWE, they have got to satisfy the network that that's getting these advertisers to come out and pay money. So of course they already getting their money, they already got their deal, but they have got to you look at it long range. So they are looking at, hey, maybe securing a bigger deal here in a couple of years. So, they got to keep those ratings up, and those ratings are way down, even though they have switched from network TV, man. But it is what it is. It is what it is. You shouldn't drop that much. Basically they dropping 1 million fans, man, when it boils down to it. So, I'm thinking that to me, it seemed like it was desperation. But if you're going to put the titles on somebody, why couldn't you put it on Street Profits? I would put it on Street Profits, man, straight up. Put it on Street Profits, have them in there, and in there. Oh, like I said, I would have been better. I would have been better off. It would have been better off if you would put it on DIY than going ahead and put it on the Motor City Machine Guns. I really don't care for that move. I wish they wouldn't have did it, straight up. But it's done, and we'll see where it goes from here. All right. All right, just a moment, guys. I'm going to get back to Rocky Soulman Johnson and his dad. Rocky Dwayne Johnson and his dad. Wow, guys, I get those guys confused as far as their names go. But yeah, Rocky Soulman Johnson, man, yeah, he just was an incredible wrestler, guys. And what was shocking me was a lot of the things that they would go off on, they was going on about, this guy would go out of town, man, and he would tell his wife one thing, he was doing something else, even monetarily. Let's go monetarily wise. I never understood one thing about Rock. Rock came up, he was poor. He had to take the bus to school, they was taking the bus. His wife had to take the bus to work when she should have been driving a nice car. And I remember when he used to wrestle here in the Carolinas, man. This guy used to drive a nice Jaguar, beautiful car, man, nice Jaguar. And he would just come up and down to the arena, and we got to see him. I used to go to the back all the time to see him, even though I wasn't like a lot of the other people. I would just go back in the back, and I was flabbergasted about the wrestlers. I'm just sitting there looking at him, and especially him, man. This guy was all built and nice and everything, and all the women was just flat out crazy about him. You used to be talking to him after the matches, man, and he would go down to the hotel which my brother's girlfriend worked at. All the wrestlers used to go down to that hotel. And, because she used to always tell me about how much those wrestlers were making and stuff, because they would go up there and cash their check when they ran out of money. They out there at the bar, out there in the, the local area, kind of like a club scene, and buying all these drinks for different women and stuff like that. And those wrestlers run out of money. So the hotel, the Ramada down the road from the auditorium, they used to keep a lot of money on hand, so the wrestlers can cash their checks. And a lot of those wrestlers used to go up there and cash their checks, man. And I don't know how much he was making. I know Flair used to be making anywhere from $14,000 to $17,000 a night every Monday night when he wrestled over in the Carolinas. It was over in Greenville, South Carolina. It was flat out crazy. But I know he was getting paid a good bit too from, what my brother was telling me. I can't remember what it was, but this guy, man, had so many different women come through, and he was married. He was a married man, and as far as his money situation, in my opinion, he never should have been broke, guys. Never should have been broke. So it's kind of shocked me a little bit, seeing everything that was going on as far as, The Rock and his mom not having enough money for things. When this guy was out here, he was just making a whole bunch of money in these territories, and better believe he made a good bit of money in the territories, and he made pretty good money in the WWE. But then I find out this man got like kids by how many kids, man? Like 9 different kids by how many different women? 3, 4 women. I don't know if it's more than that, but he's got all these different baby mamas with all these children, man. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, this guy was out there spending money. Because like I say, if you're gonna be pulling these kind of women, especially back then in the 70s and 80s, man, yeah, like I say, you're gonna have a little bit of money. You got to have a little bit of money to do that. You're going to different hotels, you're doing certain things, to pretty much try to cover your tracks. So he spent a lot of money. He's not the only wrestler that did that. So I'm not just harping on him, but I kind of, it shocked me. I kind of lost a little bit of respect for my man. But I can't deny what he did in the ring. Still love everything that he did in the ring. But man, that's just hope. I'm just hoping, and I really believe that it is the case today that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's a totally different man than his dad, Rocky Soulman Johnson, was. I mean, he, take care of his family. Wasn't a womanizer like that. And from everything I've heard about him and everything I heard about him and what we see, he's more in the public eye. We know he's not like that, and thank goodness. But I'm pretty sure he has characteristics of his dad, just like all of us, man. We have characteristics of our parents, man, that was handed down. And, I see that so much now, in my life, as an older adult. And my younger brother, who's a year younger than me, man, I tell my mom today, I said, he is you. I said, he's 100% you. And I said, I know I got you in me too, but my brother, he is just like her, man. Is incredible. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure, Rocky Soulman Johnson has some, Rock Dwayne Johnson has some of his dad's characteristics and his mom's too, that rubbed off, that's in him, that's been, hey, come down the pipe, come down, watering down that DNA coming down on that, coming down in his system. He has to have a lot of the same things that's going on with him. But man, yeah, he don't seem to be like one of these people that wants to run around. Plus, like I say, you have more spotlight on you, and he's had spotlight on him ever since he started in his business. Well, when they decided to go ahead and give him a push, but man, he's been one of the most hyped wrestlers ever. I would say Hulk Hogan is up in that league with him, and Stunning Steve Austin. After that, it's not many other wrestlers been hyped up like that. They have really, they really put the spotlight on him. It's been on him ever since then. We do have social media, so it's a lot of things you can't do. What you got away with in the back, what you did back in the day, you can't get away with that as much as you could back in the day. But man, yeah, The Rock, it just shocks me, and I see why he got, blackballed from the industry. It's just, gosh, man, and I always wonder what happened to him. I always wonder what happened to him after like 85, 86. I'm like, wow, man, this guy's incredible. And, he's still young enough to be on top in this game or whatever. What happened to him? And I see what had happened to him. But, man, I think when it boils down to it, I do think he loved the business, and he was looking out for the business. He didn't want his son getting involved in the business. But when it boils down to it, he had a lot of selfishness about him. The business was about him, which the business should have been about his family and feeding his family and making sure his family had a decent, comfortable living. Man, they didn't have to live in the biggest mansion or anything like that, but you make sure your wife has a nice, safe car to drive, and your son, man, because if you have it, you have it. Sometimes, a lot of us are not fortunate enough. I'm talking about a lot of people. Us, when I say us, I'm talking about everybody. A lot of people is not fortunate enough to have a life like that, or to make that type of money to where, your family can afford to have nice things, a nice life. But hey, The Rock, he made enough money to afford that for his family. But it didn't happen. It definitely didn't happen. And so you have to look at the situation and say, hey, dude, what in the world was you doing with your money? What was you doing with your money? All right, my man, ASMR Nocturnal is in the house. Says MCMG, okay, Motor City Machine Guns are great pioneers to tag team wrestling. Well, look, man, they look good. They do look like, the pioneers of the past. I will say that. So I do think there was a path to get them to the titles, but taking it off of, the bloodline, as much as I don't like this new bloodline or whatever, I can't stand them. I don't know if that was the right way to actually do it. Is it going to hurt that bloodline? No, not really. But you are cementing, cementing the thing that we're saying out here, that everybody is saying. You are cementing the fact. You making it a fact. You making it where it's no longer where people just hating on it. It's just that you can look at it and it's factual, even to the top brass, even people like Triple H and everybody that's around him. You making it, they made it a fact that, hey, this team is no good. This bloodline is no good. We need to get rid of them as soon as possible. But I do think they're gonna I do think, one of the big pay-per-views coming up, they are going to use this as much as possible. They want to use it, as this bloodline, but they know Solo Sikoa and those guys, they just don't look like the genuine article. They really don't. So, man, not shocked that they took them titles off of them, straight up. But man, wow. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and look. And The Rock, man, The Rock had an incredible career, done a lot of amazing things, won some world titles, over in the WWE, and became the biggest name ever, probably the biggest name ever in wrestling. Biggest name. What else can you put out here and that can compete with that? As far as his name, outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock had a huge run in wrestling. Now I could go back to the Hulk Hogan years, and I'm talking about the Hulk Hogan years when he was in the black and red. I mean the red and yellow. I'm talking about that Hulk Hogan back then during the MTV days and things. I don't know if anybody will ever get that big when it boils down to it. But The Rock, man, if he didn't surpass it, he came very close. So very, very close. But The Rock was able to do his thing, had a lot of great matches, hey, never liked the people's elbow, but it worked, it's effective. But yeah, he was pretty darn good in the ring, but not his dad. He is not his dad. Make no ends or buts mistakes about it. This guy is nowhere near the talent level of his father, man. As far as a physical specimen, he's up there with his dad, but as far as the wrestling ability, no. Rocky Soulman Johnson he was the shiznit, like Snoop Dogg would say. He's the shiznit. I mean, he was great. He was fantastic, guys. Fantastic. So just wanted to get on here and talk about that a little bit, man. Hey, and if you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit that like, share, join. If you're on YouTube, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, 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 so we're on like times like these, guys. And if you are on Twitch, you do the same thing that you do here on YouTube. And if you see us on X, guys, hit that like, tweet and retweet and follow the Straight Up Wrestling Show over on X, guys. But I am tired. But I told Chris, man, I wanted to get on here. Definitely want to get on here tonight and pretty much go over a few things. And guys, I'm about to start scheduling things like this so you guys know what time we coming on and when we're on. But I appreciate Wally G coming in. ASMR Nocturnal coming through. I appreciate my man Magnum coming through. Appreciate Chad coming through. Charity coming through. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming through this late early morning. Goodness sake, man. Boy, I'm this doggone light all in my face. I'm gonna go and turn that off. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys coming in here, man, and checking me out. And wow. I thought about staying up doing the third shift and get all, pretty much start doing a marathon on these NXTs, guys. So tomorrow night, man, we will be doing Halloween Havoc. So we get not Halloween Havoc. Is it Halloween Havoc? Yeah. So we will be doing that pay-per-view tomorrow night, guys. So hey, tune in, rock with us, straight up. All right, my man Magnum says, right on, Harry. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You too, Mag. But definitely, we will be on tomorrow for NXT. I think it's Halloween Havoc. I'm pretty sure that's it. But yeah, we will be on here tomorrow checking it out. And I'll probably do a couple shows. I'm trying to get Chris on a little bit earlier. We'll do a couple shows, maybe at least one show. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll schedule that or whatever. Probably watch a little bit of football, man. I know football was going on today. I really didn't check out any football or anything. I was all out and doing some things. And it was just flat out crazy today, guys. But you guys take it easy, man. 100%. Have a great night. And Mag, like I say, one more time, man. Mag, I appreciate you. And I appreciate Wally G. I appreciate all you guys. Charity, ASMR National. I appreciate all of you. You guys have a great night. Stay straight up. Peace.